here, and I can go here, and I can go here. Here, you need your server name, which can be anything. Those are just variables, is that right? You need your username. By default, your username on your machine is user root. You need your password, which is nothing, so you leave blank. You need your database name. Call it whatever. Does that make sense? It doesn't really matter what table name, what are you calling it. So we had estate something, isn't it? Remember?
Yes.
We had done estate database before. So just localhost slash.
We had this thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We had the estate, right? So we have estate and we have a table in that, so whichever we want to ask for. So we have estate. Now here, what do I need is,
Connection.
you don't have to call it connection. Does that make sense? It's just what you're going to call it, right? I'm going to call my connection. Is that okay? I'll just call it a variable. Now here you need to write a new MySQLi, and you need to pass 4 parameters here, and those 4, now I don't have to write them down here, I can put them straight here as well. Does that make sense? I could have done localhost comma root space and that directly here.
It's optional.
Yeah, it is just optional. How do you want to write down is completely up to you. $UN $pass and $database name. Is that okay? Now here, what do I need to do is, I have already made the connection, right?
Yeah.
Now I need to write down my query, right? So $Q is equal to select star from estate is not the name of the table, so properties. So from properties. Is that okay? So that's your query. Now you need to execute your query. Is that right? Now for executing a query, I need my connection, and I also, when I run the query, I will get the result. Is that right? So I'm going to write down result. I can call it whatever I want to. Does that make sense? It doesn't have to be called result. Call that variable whatever you want to. This result should be equal to what? This is my connection. Using this connection, I am going to run a query. This query is a function, right? Okay. No, you don't learn in PHP. This is just a way of referring to a class. Because it's a class instance, it's like you're referring from there. So in programming language, we say you're referring to a pointer. So go in that and you refer. But we don't have a concept of a pointer now. It was all old, but it's just saying using that connection. This query function is in that connection. It's like an object property, right? Here also, because as soon as you say new, that means you've started a new object. You wanted to create a new object. So it created a new object and a new, that's why I said call. It's just like opening a call. When you dial a number, it started a connection, so that's what's happened.
The query is
now here the query actually is
on that connection.
$Q.
Yeah.
This is the query, isn't it?
So that's the method. So that query.
Yeah, query is the method to run the query. This is the query I want to run. Obviously, you can write this query directly here if you want, but that just is like when we will be doing select star from this where blah blah blah. It's easier to write it down separately first and then put it. Does that make sense? Now you have the result. Is that right? Now I told you you can find out what is the number of rows. Is that right? So I can just say echo. I'm trying to say query using query function. Create new connection by using new MySQL. Is that okay? That's the function which you're using. Is that okay? So
MySQL and MySQL, how are they different?
they're different because MySQL was procedural. So they have the same object. So they can't rewrite that object. They've created a new object called as MySQL. Right?
Same object.
Look, the old language is not gone. The language is still the same bundle, right? So if people are working on PHP 5, they're not going to take the whole class out. So they didn't take the old class out. That old class exists. So that's why they created a new called as MySQLi instead of. Because there is if you look at the procedural function, it will say MySQL. So you can't. They couldn't have created a new.
Okay, so this MySQL to work with object oriented.
Yes. Yes, and MySQL works with the old one, right? Yes. So it's this. Let me just save this. Connection. No. Database. Yeah, so that it just becomes more colorful as I type. So echo, I just want to display how many records are there. So you can find out how many records are. Display number of.
Like how many rows there are?
Yeah, number of records, right? So how do I do that? There is a function called as MySQLi num rows. Now this is the function, right? But where is it reading the rows from? The result. This is the function, isn't it? This is the where your results are. So you are going to give him the results to say how many records are there.
And
Is that
add
right?
a text to that.
Sorry?
Family process.
Oh yeah, you can say total records. Yeah. So this is the text and that's the number. Now here, because I've got total number of records, I can use a loop, right? So, but usually we do not run a loop. We just use a loop. But I'm just going to say while, and what you need to do is while.
Not end of the
No, you need to. Because you're going to read one record. So one record needs to go in something as well, right? It needs to get stored. So one record, I'm just calling it record, equals to MySQLi fetch associate. And now that's the function. That MySQL fetch is to read one record from the result. This is a function to read a record from the whole result. So it will only read one record. It's MySQL.
It's like for each.
You can use for each, but still you will have to run this function.
So this is one record. I did all the records are done.
Yeah, we will say that till end of file or this. Does that make sense? So we will say that till it's not done. But what we are saying is we are reading one record. Is that right? I mean, whether you take a loop, it doesn't really matter. You can actually take a loop here. Let's say if I was $count equal 1, right? And you can say I didn't store this number of $number of rows in this, right? If I store it with number of records, then I can say here $count is less than equal to $NR. Is that right? So you can just prove that. Now this is one record. So what you will do is echo dollar record, and this is the same way you read your fields. So if I've read for, I'm reading properties, right? This is properties table. So properties table has got the property as property ID and title. So let's say I'm just going to print two, title and rent, or title category and rent. Right? So here I'm just going to say it's case sensitive, so you have to know your table titles or your fields. It won't work if they are different. So title, so let's say category, and let's say rent. Is that okay? Is that okay? Is that clear? Just want a space, right? And here I want echo. I mean, obviously we will learn how to put that in a table, or because it's just the same thing which you've been learning. You can display things in here. I didn't write down NR. NR. Yeah. Is that okay? Yeah.
I'm still not sure about the fetch associate one. So this brings up like
One record.
the first record.
Yeah, but then obviously it's going to be in loop, so it just keeps going on from the next. The computer already works out it's like a pointer that it's on the first record. You read the first one, it goes to the second one. It's on the second one, you go to the third one. So just like an array, it just keeps moving ahead. So if I just save this and run this, /1739 / read database. Obviously total number of records is 10. That's correct, but I think I've written down my source, and I have not. Did I not give the? I have res. Res is a variable. God. What is it saying? What's the error? Can't be this. The old and new. The old one has got my SQL fetch, same function, the I is different. So must see property, house 230, very good property, flat 200, blah, blah. Right? Again, it's up to you. How do you want it to? I wanted to give the headings at the top and display all of them, or I want to create something like this. I want to write down here title. Does that make sense? I mean, you want to write down that instead of this. You want to give HR. So whatever you would do, you would just incorporate that code, isn't it? Or just converted that BR to HR to get the line. And then I just gave the title, the printed title and colon, so that it just says title. But again, that's just, sorry? Here, no, title goes here, isn't it? On the web page, here, it says title here. Yeah, because there are empty records in that. Oh, no, I know why. It's a forever loop. The reason is because I said till NR, but I didn't say count plus plus. I didn't say count plus plus, did I? So it is not ever going to reach that number of rows. So this just went on. It was happening in the previous one also, but we didn't see that because it was all spaces.
How that's supposed
Because I was not counting, isn't it? I was just reading next. It kept going on, so it was not stopping because it told me there are 10 records, which is fine. But I said start from 1 and then go on. I didn't say 1 has become 2. Usually we don't do that. Actually, we just put this fetch here, and then it automatically reaches the end of file and it stops. Is that okay? And that's it. This is how you read database. Very difficult? No, it's just the styling. How you want this to interact with the rest of the pages is where the things will start. Getting database from the table and printing is not difficult at all. I mean, you've seen it just that many times. But yes, for you guys, it's just that obviously for remembering all these 4 functions. I think it's the order, what you need first, and that's why I wrote that. Remember that steps. What do I need to do? Make a connection, query, run the query, you have the result, you read the record, you display, and you read the next record. If you know that, you will probably not make that effort. Right? But we're going to do this again on Friday. We just repeat the same thing on a Friday. Is that okay? And then obviously I'll ask you to do this with your own tables and database. And you will just do it like 5 times, 6 times, doesn't matter. Different tables. Doesn't make sense? You'll do it with different tables. Does that make sense? Just to say that you...
This loop is much easier than loop.
Yeah, the loops you are doing, obviously this is a straightforward loop. It is not going to be complicated. Does that make sense? This loop will never be complicated.
That's it.
This is going to be in PHP requiring the database. The loops are not going to be complicated. They're going to be very straightforward. Go from 1 to 10 or go to 1 to 50 or whatever. It's okay. So I'm just going to